Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Attorney Sonya Peterkin. I'm an immigration attorney based in Claremont, Florida, but I represent clients worldwide with U.S. immigration issues. So the other day I had the opportunity to go to a naturalization interview with a couple of my clients. And while I was there, I jotted down some of the specific questions that were asked during the interview. And so I want to kind of go through those questions with you, break down the entire process, let you know what questions are being asked and how. And so if you have a naturalization interview coming up, you'll know exactly what to expect and how to prepare for it. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned. So in this video, I'm going to break down the whole naturalization interview process. But before I get there, I want to talk about what to expect prior to your interview because that's equally as important. So when you arrive to the USCIS field office, you want to get there at least 15 minutes before your interview time. That will allow you enough time to go through security and to check in. So when you arrive at the building, you want to make sure you have your interview notice that you received in the mail and your driver's license or government issued ID. You're going to give that information to the security guard at the front. Once you're allowed in, you'll go through security, then you'll go through check-in and get your fingerprints taken and a photograph taken, and you'll receive a ticket. Then you'll wait in the waiting room for an officer to call your number. Now keep in mind that you can be waiting anywhere from 15 minutes to a couple hours. So if you have anything planned for that day, go ahead and clear your schedule. That way you're not feeling anxious and nervous because you're running out of time and you need to be somewhere else. You need to be able to focus on your interview. So once the officer calls you back, they're going to escort you to their office. And once you're back there, they're going to go ahead and place you under oath. The oath goes a little something like this. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? Once you answer yes, then the interview process will begin. So now they're going to ask you for specific documents. Specifically, they'll ask for at least your driver's license, passport, and green card. They'll use these documents to verify the information that they have in their database to make sure everything matches up. And then once they've reviewed all of your documents, they'll give them right back to you. After the documents are reviewed, then the naturalization examination can begin. The naturalization examination is actually broken up into 3 parts. They will be testing your ability to understand U.S. history and government through a civics portion of the examination, and your ability to read, write, and understand the English language through a reading and writing portion of the examination. So for the civics part of the examination, the questions are readily available online. You can find them on the USCIS website, and I'm going to go ahead and place the link below this video. So you're going to study from those 100 questions, and then the officer is going to ask you 12 of those questions. You have to get at least 6 of them correct in order to pass. So you won't know exactly which questions the officer is going to be asking on that particular day, but you'll know that the questions will come from that bank. And so when I went to the interview with my client, I mentioned that I jotted down some of the questions that she was asked during her interview. I'm going to share that with you so that you know what questions were asked and what to expect. So at her interview, the following questions were asked. She was asked, what is the name of the national anthem? Name 1 of 2 of the longest rivers in the country. Name the Speaker of the House. How old does a U.S. citizen have to be in order to vote? What are the 2 major political parties? And who is the father of this country? My client answered all of these questions correctly, so we didn't need to continue asking questions because she answered the 6 correctly. So because of that, she was told that she passed that part of the examination and that we moved on to the next part of the examination, which was reading. So once the officer informed her that she passed, she automatically went into the next portion of the examination, which was the reading portion. So for the reading and writing portion of the examination, you're going to be using a tablet. At least this is so in the Orlando USCIS field office. Most field offices work primarily the same, but at this field office, she was asked to read a sentence from the tablet. So on the tablet, she found a sentence written in the English language, and she had to verbally read the question to the officer. She did so and she passed. I do not have that exact sentence written down, but rest assured, it's coming from some of the questions that you studied for your civics part of the examination. Once my client was informed that she had passed the reading part of the examination, we automatically moved on to writing. So for the writing part of the examination, my client was asked to write a sentence that was spoken out loud in the English language onto the tablet. She was given a pen for the tablet and she wrote the sentence down into the tablet. The officer will repeat the question at least twice, and you're free to ask him to repeat again if you didn't understand or if you need clarification on something. So the specific sentence that my client was given was, "The White House is in Washington, D.C." And my client wrote it down on the tablet. She wrote it correctly. She was informed that she had passed that part of the examination. And once you pass all three parts of the examination, then you can move on to the interview portion. So the interview portion of the process will just involve asking some basic questions that are really coming from the naturalization application that you submitted. So questions like, have you gone by any other name before? What's your address, your marital status, who's your spouse, how long you've been married? They'll also confirm your travel history, especially if you've traveled recently outside of the United States. So that was my first client. But I had another client that day that had a different experience due to him needing a disability waiver. So that particular client was not able to take the naturalization examination due to a disability that he had. And so for that particular client, we filed something called a disability waiver that, if approved, will allow him to apply for naturalization and go through the interview without having to pass the civics and English portion of the examination. So that's exactly what we did. Now, this particular form has to be completed by a licensed physician. And so we made sure that it was done sufficiently and we filed it with the application. And the tricky thing, or the kind of like uncertain thing about this form, is that you don't know if it's approved until the day of the interview. So when you file it, you have to actually, attend your interview, and at the time of the interview, you will be informed whether your disability waiver is approved or not, and whether you have to take the naturalization examination. Luckily for him, everything went well with the disability waiver, and he was not required to take the naturalization examination. Even if you have a disability waiver, you still have to answer some interview questions, and you also have to submit certain documentation. So just as the first applicant had to provide driver's license, green card, and passport, my client with the disability waiver had to submit the same documentation. And he had to confirm the same information on his naturalization application as well, such as his name, address, and travel history. Now, most importantly, even if you have a disability waiver or not, one of the main focus areas of the naturalization interview is ensuring that the applicants understand and are willing to take the oath of allegiance. This is really, really necessary because you're not a citizen until you attend a naturalization ceremony and take the oath of allegiance. Only after you've done that and you've received your naturalization certificate are you a U.S. citizen. Now, in some cases, the naturalization ceremony is actually scheduled right after the interview. So you can go in thinking that you're just going to complete your interview, and then after you're approved, they'll have you just attend a ceremony that's happening on the same day around the same time at the USCIS building. In other cases, you may receive a later date with your naturalization ceremony. So just to wrap up everything that I talked about, whether you're going through this the traditional way or you're filing a disability waiver, you need to attend your interview, arrive a little bit ahead of time, be prepared for your naturalization examination by reviewing your civics questions, be prepared to use a tablet to complete your reading and writing portion of your examination, and be prepared to be able to tell the officer that you understand and are willing to take the oath of allegiance. Also, be prepared for the possibility of becoming a U.S. citizen that same day by having a ceremony available to you at the field office. If you found this information helpful, or if you have a immigration issue that you want to contact me about, my information is below and I'm able to help you no matter where you're located. If you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that right now. Thank you so much for watching and you have a wonderful day.